Hi, my name is John Matthews with Picklers. We've been selling pickleball equipment online for the last 4 years, and about a year ago, we came out with our own brand of pickleball equipment called Cheetah. And I'm going to review our newest paddle, the Cheetah Predion E16 AF CF. So with the new Cheetah Predion E16 AF we wanted to come out with a control-oriented paddle that had formidable power when unleashed. And I think we succeeded, and I'll tell you about how we did it in a second. But first, I'd like to talk about the specs real quick. It's a thermoformed, edgeless, elongated paddle. The core is made from aramid fiber honeycomb. Aramid fiber honeycomb is used in boat hulls, airplane wings, helicopter blades, and even Kevlar bulletproof vests. The face of the paddle is made from 3K carbon fiber. The 3K means there are 3,000 filaments per toe, so you can actually see the weave of the carbon fiber with your naked eye. It's 16.5 inches long, 7.5 inches wide, 16 millimeters thick. The grip length is 5.5 inches. The grip circumference is 4 inches, and it weighs 7.8 ounces. Typically, the thicker a paddle is, the more control-oriented it is. And the thinner it is, the more power-oriented there it is. So many may disagree, but that's kind of what I feel. But a lot of paddles out there that are 16 millimeters thick aren't quite as powerful as they could be, and that is because they use this specific type of core. The core that the Cheetah Predion E16 AF CF uses is different than most paddles out there, and that's how we solved this issue of having a control paddle that can be released and unleashed and give the player formidable power when they want it. So most paddles out there use polypropylene cores, and polypropylene is a great substance for a honeycomb core. It's a form of plastic. We have a paddle that uses that also. The diameter of the hexagon-shaped cells is 1/4 inch. The Cheetah Predion E16 AF-CF uses a core made out of aramid fiber. It is a aramid fiber honeycomb core. The diameter of the hexagon cells are 1/8 of an inch. So that makes a difference. It allows for 4 times as many hexagon-shaped cells within a square inch of the paddle. So in general, it becomes more dense. It is more solid. It has more structure and less air than a polypropylene core. And that is what makes the paddle so powerful. That's what provides the pop that you sometimes don't get from the thicker polypropylene cores. As mentioned before, the Cheetah Predion E16 AF-CF is thermoformed. Thermoforming is simply a process where a flat, stiff sheet of material is heated up to the point where it can be molded around a 3-dimensional object. So the carbon fiber is heated up to temperatures over 500 degrees and then molded around the aramid fiber core. And then it is heated under extreme temperatures, pressure, and a vacuum to create one solid piece. This is a cutaway view of the Cheetah Predion E16 AF-CF to illustrate how the paddle is constructed. You can see the gold area in the middle is the aramid fiber honeycomb core, surrounded by carbon fiber on the surfaces and the sides of the paddle. We reinforce the sides of the paddle with a 1/4 inch solid carbon fiber channel that goes all the way around the paddle. This not only reinforces the paddle, but it also makes it more solid and adds to its durability. In addition, the quarter-inch solid carbon fiber channel around the outside of the paddle creates a perimeter weighting system, and that increases the moment of inertia. The moment of inertia is simply a measure of an object's resistance to being twisted around its own axis. So think of you blocking a shot at the kitchen line, someone driving it real hard, and sometimes you're holding your paddle out there and it hits on the outside of the paddle away from the sweet spot, and your paddle twists in your hand. So by adding weight to the outside of the paddle, you increase the perimeter weighting system, you increase the moment of inertia, and increase the resistance to that paddle twisting in your hand. Let's talk paddle balance. Paddle balance is very important in pickleball because pickleball is a very fast sport. You need to be able to switch from forehand to backhand and back again, especially when you're involved in fast volleys around the net. Now, most paddles out there, if not all, are head heavy. It's just a degree of how head heavy it is. The Cheetah Predion E16 AF CF is not head heavy at all. In fact, it's almost perfectly balanced. The balance point is only 1 inch from the geometric center of the length of the paddle. It feels tremendous in your hand. It feels like an extension of your arm. It does not feel like you have a hammer in your hand. So it's going to give you faster hands, better agility around the net and anywhere around the court. Now, traditionally, paddles that have a lower swing weight or are less head heavy have a lower plow-through rate or the ability to move the ball. And that is not true with the Predion E16 AF CF. As you remember, this paddle uses a different core, a more responsive core. It has 4 times as much structure as a typical polypropylene core. So it provides you with a more efficient energy transfer from you to the pickleball. So it doesn't need that weight, that head heaviness to move the ball. It's going to do it with the efficient transfer of energy provided by the core. I wanted to talk about control for just a minute. Control is usually referring to the ability of a player to drop the ball into the kitchen easily and compete in soft dink battles. And a lot of that skill comes from the player. Probably most of the skill comes from the player. But the paddle definitely can help. In general, the thicker a paddle is, the more control it offers the player. The Cheetah Predion E16 AF CF is 16 millimeters thick, which is pretty much the standard for control panels. There are thicker panels out there. But there's another aspect of control that isn't really referred to that much, and that is the ability to place the ball exactly where you want it to go. For me, that's very important. I'm a placement player. I like to find where my opponent is not and send the ball there. And what you need if you want to be able to place the ball where you want it, you need that kind of control. Carbon fiber is the best surface to turn to. So a lot of paddles used to use fiberglass, and they still do. They're fine paddles. They offer a lot of pop, but they don't offer a lot of placement control. The reason is because fiberglass has a really high deflection rate. In other words, when a ball hits the paddle, it's not necessarily going to go exactly where you want it to go. It's going to deflect in another direction, maybe 45 degrees, 35 degrees off where you aim the ball. And that's a problem. So carbon fiber paddles are better. And the reason is carbon fiber is a stiffer substance. It has a lower deflection rate. It's going to allow you to place the ball exactly where you want it to go. And that's the kind of control that the Predion E16 AF CF offers because it has a 3K carbon fiber surface. The 3K stands for 3,000 filaments per toe, where actually you can see the carbon fiber weave with your naked eye. The Cheetah Predion E16 AF CF comes with a limited lifetime guarantee. That's mainly because of the core we use and the thermoforming process. The core, as mentioned before, is aramid fiber honeycomb used in airplane hulls, airplane wings, boat hulls, and helicopter blades. And aramid fiber is actually the substance that Kevlar is made from in bulletproof vests. So it's pretty tough stuff, and we think that it can withstand the stresses of a pickleball. The thermoforming process is also neat. It goes beyond just gluing the parts of a paddle together. The paddle is heated under extreme temperatures. Carbon fiber has to be heated to over 500 degrees in order to be thermoformed. And the core, the aramid fiber honeycomb, has a melting point of 900 degrees. So it's not going to affect the core of the paddle when the carbon fiber is heated up. And that becomes key because there is no degradation of the core. And you're not going to see any delamination problems with the paddle. If you do, we'll replace it. If the paddle breaks in half, we'll replace it. So we don't think those things will happen. We're pretty confident they won't. So we're giving you a limited lifetime guarantee.